I'm Lida and and I'm a licensed marriage family therapist in private practice. I got into industry by going to graduate school and really realizing that I wanted to be a therapist in private practice, particularly sometime in my undergrad program when I was questioning my own gender identity at the time, as well as my major, which was in engineering. And so just in coming to terms and realizing who I am with my gender, I realized that I want to help others be their authentic selves. The biggest misconception of TGI people, I don't know if I can pinpoint to any one misconception. I would think that it's important to recognize the source of misconception, and in this case, disinformation and those who don't care to respect trans people and would rather demonize them. And so I really want to say that the biggest misconception is that the alternative side about trans people and gender being an element of diversity, that they're just being, fraudulent and just performing to their base and really trying to create a narrative about trans people, which has always been happening, whether it's in Hollywood or in other forms and other, ways. What made me want to start my own business is I always envisioned that I would be a therapist in private practice. I felt I wanted that independence to really design and curate what healing would look like, just, kind of the way I see it. And I never really had a vision of that. So definitely that came with time and my own healing. Someone just got declined a job offer, I would say, please consider that there's nothing wrong with you or your qualifications, that it may just be that that's a decision the employer made in that they didn't reject you, they just didn't select you. And it may be based on something out of your control or influence. It could be that they're just poor at making decisions. I myself have been passed over a couple of times for jobs, actually 3 times. Yeah, one time by the county behavioral health. And so I don't think that in of itself is indicative of the quality of who someone is. It's really, we don't get selected, we don't get offered if someone doesn't believe we're a fit. And really, it's a reflection of their beliefs.
What would you say to someone who fears being ridiculed or mocked on the job?
I would say that it's valid concern, and to be, to fear something like that. It is, reality that people make a lot of presumptions about someone's gender based on what they experience initially, and so that can happen in a coworker situation, it can happen in a customer client situation. So definitely talk this out with someone before you are embarking on this path, to make sure that you feel prepared, and not just prepared for the successes, but also prepared for the struggles and the adversity, because these things will happen, and it's how we bounce back that's important. For someone who's wanting to make a career shift, I would say definitely be kind to yourself. Consider that in a lot of ways it may feel like you're starting over, and it also may feel like a loss in some ways because of all the time and energy and money and dedication you spent in an initial career. But also understand that every stop in the journey is just one stop right before your next one. So definitely consider all that it takes to go into that, and please don't let that discourage you, and in terms of if this new path, this new career is something that you truly want. I would say that it is unfortunate, but with the amount of data nowadays and access to information, that eventually this idea of being outed and people knowing your transness, in this question I'm presuming that the individual wants to be read and perceived as cisgender, that that's gonna happen, and that sometimes that's out of our control. So I think just making sure that you feel prepared for the day that that happens, and how it happens, and how it, the ramifications of it. Not everyone has the benefits or privilege or the mental health to be able to live openly as trans, so that is an important factor to consider. And there's probably a whole lot more I can say about this topic in terms of making sure you establish trust and connection with these new employers. TGI people are an asset because they represent diversity. They represent individuals who know what adversity is as well. And so when you have people who have survived those sorts of struggles, and they come into the workforce with diverse perspectives, with problem solving and inner relational skills, and these people, they have a lot of input, and because of the Western model of hierarchical structure, they're not going to like change and radically, drastically change the employer's culture. Like, there's still opportunity for dialogue and communication and decision making, as people in power, in charge, and like directors and managers ultimately still hold all the power. So definitely hire more trans folks. What I love most about my job is that I get to be part of and bear witness of people experiencing the types of changes that they never imagined were possible. It's almost as if I am distorting their reality by working with them to make them believe in themselves. Well, I think trans people in Santa Clara County definitely can innovate, particularly because there's been an underrepresentation of trans people being visible through my experience. And so, unfortunately, no one really asked us if we wanted to be activists, but that kind of comes with the role, right? In a lot of ways, what we have today as trans people is because of the trans people who came before us, who fought, who died, so that we could have the rights and access to the mental health and medical care and just all the social resources. So I think it's important to recognize that it's time that we look within ourselves and find, how can we contribute? What can we do? What special skills and talents do we have? Because we are a diverse group. Trans people are not all alike. They're just as diverse as left-handed people. There is no two left-handed people that are exactly alike. So why would two trans people be similar? What makes me happy? I think what makes me happy is a variety of things. It's a lot of the little things. I think one of my favorite things that I think of right now, amongst all those many things, is I love to witness healing. I love to witness change. I think since I was always young, I was fascinated with change, most oftentimes with death, which is the change that we experience when we leave life. There were instances of just being interested in TV shows and cartoons that involve change, like Transformers, or a character that transformed from one version to another. There's something about change that seems magical and mystical, and it just kind of somehow eludes us, and we can't really put our finger on it. So I don't know, maybe that's what I like to do. I like to chase that unicorn and really not hold on to it, but just chase one, and then maybe go search for a mermaid after that, and just experience life. Hi, my name is Lida. I'm an athlete, I'm a hip hop lyricist, I'm also a screenwriter, and I'm more than just trans.